Hi everyone, it's Carly. Welcome to my channel, The Whole RN. Today we're talking about what is nurse coaching.
I'm trying to make this as relaxed as possible because that's how I feel. I don't feel like I need to do some kind of like weird scripted, uptight. Not that scripted is uptight, it just feels like I would have to be like, yes, hello and welcome. And that's just not who I am as a person. So you get me in my bedroom in a kitchen chair next to this. It's like a print. It's not a painting, it's a print. And yeah, we're chill and relaxed. I am talking to you today about what I do, which is holistic health and wellness coaching. If you saw my first video, you heard me talk about how I call myself a change doula, which to me means we have birth doulas, we have death doulas, people who help you transition through things. But like, what about the middle part? Like the peanut butter and jelly of the PB&J sandwich? That's like the best part. What about that part? What about how do I, So here I am. First and foremost, nurse coaching is done with someone who is a nurse. They either have an RN or a BSN RN. I happen to have a BSR in me as an RN. I went to 4 years of college to get this piece of paper specifically. And then I got it and now I have it. And then I went to work in an OR for a while, and then, maybe one day I'll talk about that experience. But what's important here is I'm a nurse. Then I went to more schooling. I'm going to soon be done with that and be board certified as a health coach and board certified as a wellness coach, specifically nurse health coach, nurse health and wellness. Bada bing, bada boom. Why is that important? My best friend's great grandmother's niece, twice removed, is a health and wellness coach and she teaches yoga, so I'm just gonna go to her. Cool, that's fine. I don't. But why does it matter to me that you have a health and wellness coach that is also a nurse? Because who doesn't want to ask nurse questions for an hour of interrupted time? You get to have an hour of uninterrupted just time with a nurse? What? Okay, I got this. I've got this. I've got ADHD, but I've also got this. I'm gonna do a lot of finger guns. I am Michael Scott. Okay. Having a nurse in your corner is huge because not only do we have the education and knowledge of a nurse, but we can help you use that knowledge to cultivate your life to look exactly the way you want it to. Using that evidence-based practice knowledge to cultivate and create a life that is exactly perfect and exactly what you want it to be. Nurse coaching is very much an experience. It is very much healthcare reimagined. I'm gonna try something. I feel like I can tell you a lot about nurse coaching, but to experience nurse coaching yourself is unmatched. It is exactly that. It is an experience, and I'm gonna do my best to describe it to you. Insert a joke about Legolas getting given a box. A lot of people do it differently, but the main thing is, at least the way I do it, we start off by a mindfulness practice to get grounded, get ourselves in the zone, and be really present. You can be as surface level as you want or get as deep as you want. After, doing the mindfulness practice, we go over some agreements and then we chat. And we chat about whatever it is that you want nurse coaching to be about for you. So like I've said before, you just got a new diagnosis and you're like, how do I live with this? I can help you with that. You want to learn how to eat better, you want to learn how to exercise, you want to learn how to do a new hobby or a skill, I can help you with that. For example, and this one just is easiest for me to pull off the top of my head, and I think it does a good job of like reframing what healthcare might look like to us now and what we're used to versus what it can be. That's kind of where I like to start. So let's say you just went to the doctor and they're like, hey, you're pre-diabetic, or you have, you know, you're diabetic. And usually if that's the case, you're probably in the hospital. So Billy Bob Brown, sorry if that's your name, but that's the name of my character that we're talking about, just got the news. Oh my gosh, your doctor's telling you that you have type 2 diabetes. Billy Bob Brown is 32, just diagnosed with diabetes. Now what? Their doctor might spend 15, 20 minutes, maybe more, depending, talking about it. What new medications are you going to take? How do you do this? It's very much, okay, I've never been diagnosed with diabetes, so I don't exactly know what the doctor's appointment's going to look like, but they're going to at least give you the basics of, you're going to probably need to take insulin, and then they're going to prescribe you insulin based on, you know, short-term, long-term acting insulin that you would either take right before you ate or you would take in the morning, and it'll last you all day. And then after that, the nurse would probably show you how to give yourself a shot before you left and got your new prescription of insulin. Hopefully either in the doctor's office or at the pharmacy, someone's telling you, you need to store this in the fridge, here's how you use needles and here's how you dispose of them, etc. Anyway, all of this is new to you and you're probably still reeling from learning that you have diabetes, and that sucks. And no one's asked you, how you doing? I know that this is a lot to take in. Do you have any questions for me? They might ask that at the end of the spiel, your doctor might, but you might not have questions yet, and that's okay, because before you can have questions, you have to accept that information. And I've had plenty of doctor's appointments where I've gotten news that I have not been able to accept in that moment. Things, even something as difficult and as dark and heavy as a loss, and something as scary and, you know, just new as a diagnosis of diabetes and what we might think of it in society, it's scary. And having to accept that and then learn about it all in the same office visit is unimaginable. I understand that it's important, and education is a big part of the culture around diabetes management now, which is excellent. But at the same time, like I said earlier, are you okay? Should be the first question. Like, what can I help you with? Is there anything you have to talk about right now in this moment? If Billy Bob Brown was my client and he or she asked to talk about it, the first thing I would say was, okay, what's coming up for you right now? And we would sit there together with whatever they did or did not have to say. And initially, Billy Bob Brown's idea was, hey, I want to learn how to manage this better, or I want to like reverse it, which we can talk about in a minute. I just, help me. How do I get through this transition? And that may look like the doctor's office visit. You may expect it to be just more very stoic education. I'm not used to talking a lot, but I like sparkling water, so I'm gonna drink it. Definitely, sometimes more education is needed, and sometimes having a long conversation about how we got here is also needed, and that is definitely unique to the person, and that's okay. That's excellent. But now what? So that, like I said, that would be the first thing I would ask. And the second thing I would ask, depending on where the conversation went, was, what does health look like for you? what does your dream life look like? Where do you want to be in the next 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years? And not just like, oh, I want to live here and grow in this career. And I was just actually really hoping to be CEO one day. Where that could be also something we talk about. I want to know, yeah, what does health look like to you? And I have definitely gotten the answer of like, oh, I work out every day and I am a size whatever I was in high school, and I'm glowing and I look like those baddies on Instagram. And I'm like, great, love that for you. What is your version of health though? What is Billy Bob Brown's at 32 years old? What's your version of health? And this might take some deep digging, so to speak, and even might take until the next time we visit for you to have an answer, which is totally fine. But for example, what health looks like to me is I can go on a hike spontaneously whenever I want and not have to worry about having my inhaler beforehand. My version of health looks like I could go to Universal Studios or Disney and walk all day long at the park and not have to worry about, you know, is this something I can even do? Or do I need my inhaler? Am I going to be taking enough breaks? If I get too hot, am I going to get sick? I feel good in my body. I feel like myself. I am comfortable being in my body and doing mindfulness practices and feeling connected, because this is my body, this is my vessel, it's mine, and I feel comfortable. It feels like I am not sick all the time. It feels like I can eat whatever I want whenever I want and not have to worry about well, we're gonna call it hot girl IBS. This is my Play-Doh I'm playing with. It's not Play-Doh, it's putty. Hot girl IBS, etc. I can have cheese and then ice cream afterwards and not be like, I gotta go home. Health for me is, you know, waking up at a decent time, enjoying outdoors. It is feeling like I'm glowing, feeling like myself, feeling like I am free to be myself. Health is not just physical, it's mental and it's spiritual, and it's everything that I help my clients with. A healthy relationship with social media, and it's really good self-care, and that I can unfollow people who I respect and appreciate, but they cause a battle inside me and I don't have to follow them. There was a time where self-care for me looked like unfollowing people who were fitness influencers or fitness models, because it wasn't motivating for me anymore. It was causing my own mental health to decline because I couldn't see past what I was seeing physically. All I could see was that's something I don't look like, that's someone I'm not, and now I'm gonna go punish myself about it with food, or not eating, or working out insanely and then not eating, or eating way too much and hiding the wrappers. And for every one person that I unfollowed that made me feel less than because I wasn't a size 2 with a size 5 booty, and that felt unattainable at the time, I'd unfollow them. Because I love myself and I'm not gonna make myself look at them calling it motivation when it's not. And then I went and followed 2 people who were mid-size women, showing me how to wear clothes that I actually loved and styled them in a way that made me feel comfortable. And so I felt better because I was seeing people on Instagram constantly who looked like me. Not in a way that is, culturally speaking, not like me in that way, but their physical weight was similar to mine, and it gave me permission to feel okay that I didn't look like all of the fitness models on my Instagram page, and permission to see the world as it is and not as what I thought it was. And this showed up for me in real life when I went to Vegas to go see Shania Twain, and when I was picking out my outfit for the show, I was just petrified for a while that I was not going to look like a Instagram baddie going to Vegas to go see a show and get to post cute pictures of myself, feeling confident because I looked hot, which I no longer need the validation of strangers on the internet to tell me that I feel good about myself. But at the time, that was really going through my head. And then I looked up and I was like, oh my gosh, of course I'm feeling bad about myself. I'm looking on Fashion Nova for a dress to wear to Vegas. I don't look like any of those girls, and that's okay. So I went to my Instagram and I looked up girls who I had been following that were mid-size influencer for fashion, and saw them wearing dresses, and I was like, okay, I can look like that. I can look good like that. And I got a dress and realized I can go to Vegas and feel good about myself in a dress that I got and not be a size 2 with a size 5 booty. And not everyone that was going to be there at the show is going to look like a Fashion Nova model or a hashtag Vegas weekend girl. There were people who looked like me there too. And that felt good. And then I felt proud of myself because not only did I get to change the way that I was thinking about myself and seeing the world around me, but I was aware of my own thoughts, and I was just proud. And the awesome thing is, when you're working with a noise coach, when you're working with a nurse coach, you get someone else to celebrate your wins with too. All that to say, what do you want your life to look like? And if it is like an influencer on Instagram, that's okay too. We can do that. We can work together and create that for you. But I want to cultivate what your ideal is and what works for you. And that's why I asked that question, because what I do isn't one size fits all. What I do isn't even a set program for every person that I work with. It is very much me sitting down with you, either in person or online, and talking. I want to get to know you, and I want to get to know who you are deep down, and not just the person that you bring to the surface because you think that's who you have to be. After I ask you what your ideal version of health is, depending on where that conversation brings us, it's important for me to know how are you doing with your family? You just got this new diagnosis, and is that bringing up any issues with the way that you're interacting with your relationships at home? How is your spirituality? Is it stronger now that you feel like you're needing to lean on someone or something? Or are you having a harder time because why me? That kind of stuff matters. I am not afraid to go there with you. And even as a nurse who has clinical experience, I think it's profoundly important that we work together to create intense, beautiful, brilliant, supportive relationships and intense, beautiful, supportive, amazing spirituality. Whatever that looks like for you, whether it's religion based, or if it's just very spiritual, if you are into witchcraft, whatever it looks like is the right answer, and whatever works for you is the right answer. And I am totally comfortable going there with you, even though we might see things differently. That's totally fine. It's important to me that you have strong resources wherever you live, whatever your lifestyle looks like now. Like a really strong, supportive group of people is key to being human. And sometimes it's hard to have friends and be an adult and be in relationships, or be a kid and be going to high school. And the worst of them, I think, is junior high. I don't wish that on anyone. I don't wish junior high on any person. That age just sucks. But I can acknowledge that it sucks with you. Either way, the point is, it's important to have connection. And even if I'm your only connection for a while, I can help you cultivate more connection for yourself, whatever it looks like for you.
Really fast, Carli from the future here just wants to let you know that in this moment, I had a thought about how I want to cultivate this like awesome life for you, which like whatever it looks like for you, right? Obviously, I mean, I've said that a million times. But my thought was, that came up, like, why do I feel like I have to run in order to be healthy? Hi, Cleo's coming to the show. And that's kind of what this next section is about, like where that came from. And I didn't want to delete it because I actually feel like this is some really important information. And anyway, that's how we got to this thought, and that's where it's coming from. And this little girl's tired.
Something that even still to this point in time is hard for me is the idea that like there's somewhere in my brain a mental block that I have to be a runner to be fit. And I don't know if it's because we had to run the mile when we were kids or what, but I just have not ever been able to run. And it's more like a asthma thing than it is like a muscle thing. And yeah, I know there's ways that you can run and know how to breathe properly, but I never even liked it when I did try to do it. It's just always felt like healthy people run, and that's the only way to be healthy. And somehow that mental block still creeps up in my mind every once in a while, and I just work myself through it. But that's to say, I love dancing, and I feel like myself, and I feel amazing and magical and beautiful and profound and happy and exuberant when I dance. And so why not dance? Why not do the movement that makes you feel that good and is exercise? Like, do that then. The only time that it was hard for me was when I was doing Zumba and I was like, I need to dance myself into losing 30 pounds. And then it became like a chore, and it became not fun. And again, it was because I was doing it with an intention and a purpose and a feeling that I hated myself, not I'm dancing because I love dancing and I'm having fun and I'm doing it to honor the fact that I can move and having gratitude. And then the minute I went back to doing Zumba and doing it because I love moving, it felt good again. And that's what I want for people. I just want to be there with my clients and with 32-year-old Billy Bob Brown, cultivating the exact life that you want and help you through transitions ones that you want and ones that just come about and help you. I want to help people get rid of and let go of, you know, mental blocks that they've had their whole lives that aren't even theirs, and learn to really, truly, authentically love themselves and love the life that they're living. And do that while having the knowledge that I have of a nurse. And the way that our medical system goes is very much numbers based, and that is hard. It's hard to make deep, profound connections with people in very short periods of time, because it takes building trust, and it takes thinking about things, and it takes pondering the question that you asked me, and how does that make me feel, and how do I respond to it, and that takes time, and it's okay that it takes time. But in the way our healthcare system is now, it just doesn't work that way. And nurse coaching, I tell people now especially, is like, it fills in those gaps. I mean, I know that there's nurse coaches who specifically just do like pre and post surgery. They talk their patients through what it's going to be like going to have surgery, and then what it's going to be like afterwards, and walk them through that process. And then there's nurse coaches who are just very specifically, you know, one type of diagnosis. Like, probably there's a ton of, you know, diabetes nurse coaches who only work with patients who have diabetes, and their main thing is educating patients on diet, exercise, lifestyle changes that they can make. All different kinds of things. And I know that there's definitely like more wellness leading nurse coaches that are like very much about like mindfulness and like sound baths and yoga practice, and making deep, profound healing in short periods of time, or you know, in long periods of time too. But I'm just thinking, like, when you go on the retreats, it's usually like 3 to 4 days that you're doing a lot of work quickly. But that's what we're doing, though. We're filling in the gaps that our current healthcare system has with the knowledge of nursing that we carry and our clinical experience that we carry. We're making real human interactions, and we're getting deep, and we're getting there with you, and we're meeting you where you are. And to me, that's huge. I think that's what we're missing a lot of. There are times where we're going to say, like, that's something that you need to ask your healthcare provider, but I can definitely educate you and talk about internet myths that you might find from people who are nutritionists because they got a certification in, you know, like 4 weeks or something. We can help educate in that way, but we can also help guide you to what diet might work best for you, meaning you don't need to be doing a specific magical magazine worthy diet. Like, diet literally just means the food that you put in your mouth. My diet today was of this sparkly water, and I think I got coffee today, and we had pizza for lunch at this really cool place. I have another video about that, but that was my today's diet. I'm not on a special magical diet, but that's another thing that we can debunk for you and help you look at health in a way that works for you, and it is right because it's what works for you. I don't know if I made my point about Billy Bob Brown yet. I feel like I made a lot of good points, but I don't know if I completely closed them. Look, like I said, I have ADHD, and sometimes I get really excited about like ideas that pop up into my brain, and I have to say them, because if I don't, I'll forget them. But that also means that I started a story about Billy Bob Brown and didn't necessarily make all the points that I was trying to make. And then I'll watch this later and be like, I never told you about the thing. So I'm taking a moment to ponder that. I hope this video is not too long, but I also just like love teaching people about the things I know, and I get really excited because I've done the work and I've been in that like really awful deep dark place, and then now I'm here and I'm like, yeah, you can do it too. But I think sometimes that can be annoying, and people are like, just shut up and get to the point. Do you just like listening to yourself talk? And I don't think I do. I think I just have a lot to say. Still working on healing that inner child. She comes out sometimes, like right now. hope that I have at least shown you a little bit of what nurse coaching might look like. I'm sure there's people on the internet who do it beautifully. They probably have a script or maybe don't have a script, but they like are flawless top to bottom and they're like, nurse coaching is this, and say all the things, and I'm like, oh yes, it's exactly right. And then I go to do it and I'm like, nurse coaching is this. And then I'm gonna watch this and be like, I need to do another video because I didn't even make sense or, you know, make it sound like that other awesome girl who made it sound awesome, and that's what I wanted to do, but I didn't do that, so I did it wrong. But also, part of the reason why I wanted to share this video is because I want you to hear me, I want you to see me, hear what I have to say about what I do, in a way that all of that shows who I am maybe a little bit, so then you're like, oh, I know I would get along with her, or oh, she drives me nuts, I couldn't, which is totally fine in that case. But I would then point you in the direction of someone who is also equally as awesome. The thing about me though is if I'm just talking to myself, because the only other person in the room is the spirits and the camera, I'm gonna get distracted. If there was a human in front of me though, for real, I would be like on point. It's just that I kind of feel a little bit silly making a video to no one, but also having to process everything I'm thinking and coming up. But look, I'm a little bit annoyed because today earlier I was thinking about what I might say on this particular video that I'm making, and I had a lot of cool thoughts, and I was like, yeah, that perfectly explains the thing I'm doing and how I feel about the thing I'm doing and what like I'm cultivating. And then I'm like in front of the camera and I'm like, let's do this without a script, because if I have to write a script, I'll feel like I'm in a box and I don't want to do that to myself. But now we're here and I'm like, hello, I've got nothing. I've got nothing for you except for mindfulness practice, so that we're both fully present and grounded with where we're at. And then I should have done that before I did this. That's silly, but we live and we learn. I can do a lot of different mindfulness practices. Some of them might be, you know, different kinds of breathing exercises. Some of them might be guided meditations. I might meditate with you. We might listen into something that I have on my phone. We might do some guided visualization. We might do some sound bath kind of healing. We might do some chakra balancing. We might do some sage work if that's something that you are interested in. Like, there's a lot of different modalities that I can do that I'm comfortable with, that I would love to walk you through. I think that's the end of the video. Like, subscribe. I never thought I'd get to say that. Like this video and subscribe. Definitely share it with someone who might need it. And I'm Carly, and I'll probably make another one of these videos maybe later on that's a little bit more cohesive, but yeah, I love to have you here. Thank you so much for watching, and let's get healing.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Is that really gonna be my thing? Let's get healing. I mean, it sounds cool, but at the same time, I'm like, that's not something I can picture on a t-shirt. Let's get healing. I'm thinking, I'm quiet because I'm processing what could be cooler than that. Let's get healing. It also sounds cool, but I feel like maybe because I came up with it that it's not cool. We're gonna roll with it for now. But if I come up with something cooler, I swear I'm gonna change it. I'm telling you right now.